Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I got you sleeping in there, didn't I? You're used to all those other broadcasts. How you doing? We are live back. Feels like I've been gone for a while.
You have been, haven't you?
No, I don't. Was it only one Saturday, wasn't it? Or was it 2 Saturdays? No, maybe it was 2 Saturdays. Were we? No, we were back before.
I can't remember what happened yesterday.
I don't know. I can barely remember anything. How you doing? We are live Super Bowl weekend, the unofficial state, national holiday, 2-day holiday, and I got a lot of things to cover today. We're gonna get into a little bit of a couple key pieces out of the State of the Union address that address those economic related topics, and your calls, phone calls as well. We've got some tickets to give away. There's actually some snow to go ski on.
There is quite a bit of snow, especially on the south side at Sierra at Tahoe.
Yeah, it's like I will. If you win tickets today and you want to go skiing tomorrow, I will be at my office today. I mean, you could actually come get them from me today in the Roseville office if you wanted to, and head up there this weekend and ski if you felt like you wanted to get that in. Super Bowl doesn't start till 3:30 tomorrow.
3:30, right?
I mean, hell, that's a full day.
I'm going.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta do.
Nothing else to do.
I'm gonna do a little. I'm still just right at the. No, I'm not gonna say the tail end, but getting more than halfway through kind of the pilot license finish up stuff. So one of those things you either got to keep doing it, or you start forgetting stuff, and so I got to keep doing it. I'm not good enough to forget anything, but we start every show the same way. Mr. Soccer, Mr. Boston Red Sox hat, Chris Verlot, how you doing?
Doing good.
Did you miss us?
Sure.
Nice answer.
I did say that. So Vince was here last weekend, right?
Yeah, he was.
And I just think that's so cool for me because Vince has initially no right to like me at all, and I'm not saying that he does. But he was doing this for 2 hours. He was doing this show years ago for 2 hours. He'd been a long time, and we kind of came in and did the second hour. And he could have resented that. He didn't. He's always been super friendly, and he's not weekly on the radio anymore. But he loves coming back in on it. And this is a super fun thing to do once in a while. Because if you're not responsible for doing it every single day or every single week, when you come back in as just kind of a guest, it's a blast. It's a blast. So he had a good time, and he will be. You'll hear him again. That's Vince Mastracco, the Golf Talk guy. But what are you doing? I cannot hear you.
I'm not turning my microphone on.
That's twice now. Richard, go ahead. What's in your world?
Tomorrow's the Super Bowl, which everyone's going to watch. And it's like, that's the best time to go out because no one's out. Everyone goes to watch the Super Bowl. If you don't count. So anyways, with that being said, there is no reason that the Super Bowl shouldn't be held on a Saturday now. It's a national event, and everyone's like, ratings aren't that good on Saturdays. Well, if you have the Super Bowl on a Saturday, the ratings will be high. If you have the Super Bowl on a Wednesday morning, the ratings are going to be high. So why doesn't the NFL just throw us a bone, give us the Saturday Super Bowl? That way we've got Sunday off. We get a day to recover from
imbibing and
instead of having the Monday Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, because what's funny is if you don't have Monday off, a lot of people just take Monday off anyways.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't make any sense. This is a national holiday. Either make Monday after the Super Bowl a national holiday or put it on a Saturday. They have plenty of time for it. They've got 2 weeks off. 13 days isn't that big of a deal, so we need a Saturday Super Bowl.
So did you see? I actually, when I heard this, I thought it was a joke, but there was, I guess, a legitimate plan. The Super Bowl could have been played anywhere from like Thursday to Monday, depending. Did you hear that? And
I did hear that.
Now, does people think that was legit?
It's one of those. I'm pretty sure that they have them in every Super Bowl.
Okay.
Something. If in the
catastrophic event,
if for some reason one of the the dome goes down or
collapsed.
whatever, yeah, for some crazy, if there's a 10.1 earthquake in New York,
then we're only going to put it off a day. It's like, because you can't do it early if you know there's an earthquake coming. So you gotta be
so
late.
it would be on Monday.
Yeah, so maybe that is a ongoing contingency plan. So if that's their ongoing contingency plan and everybody's aware of it, then moving the game to Saturday shouldn't be that big a deal.
No,
because you're right. The ratings stink on Saturday because it ain't the Super Bowl. So I mean, you put the Super Bowl at any time, the people are going to find it. I don't think they're going to. You just have to let them know in advance. How that works out anyway. So that's interesting. Okay, well, before you hang up there, so who are you taking?
I'm taking the Denver Broncos.
Who are you taking, John?
Broncos.
I will take Seattle. And I don't know why, other than it just seems like they've kind of pulled everything out of their rear end all year long. So, and they beat the Niners, and I figure it will feel a little less painful if that team goes on and wins it, maybe. So we shall see. We've got a full list of things to do today, and your calls and texts. Phone number here if you need it, 339-1140. You can call us toll-free at 800-920-1140, and you can text us at 441140 should you want to do that. John's got some quiz questions. We're going to give away some Sierra Tahoe ski passes, as I mentioned, if you really, really, really want to go tomorrow. And
also some round table pizzas.
Round table pizza if you're not a skier or boarder. And even though I wouldn't call this the most epic of conditions in California for this year, this is the most epic. This is as epic as it gets.
Highway 50 was closed last night at Kybers, so there was quite a bit of snow.
I don't get that because it didn't. And that must have been something that went around us.
It all hit that side.
Did it? Okay, well, there you go. So they should have a boatload. Where to start here? It was interesting. I'm trying to think. I was telling my wife this morning. It's like there hasn't been. Usually I'm just tearing stuff out of papers, and there's just all kinds of stuff that's coming at me, and I can barely figure out where to go with what. And it just seems like I don't know, like the last couple of weeks, it's just kind of been, just
a lot of weird stuff.
I always contend that the Super Bowl is kind of the end of the holiday season. It's like so for me. And I've been doing in the real estate and the finance business since I was 24 years old, and for a long time. And historically, the minute not so much Halloween, but the minute Thanksgiving hits, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's, you got the Super Bowl, and and through a lot of those years here in Northern California, we always had a team that was kind of in it. It was never the Raiders, but it was a team that was in it. So, it just kind of felt like nobody really kind of got their butt in gear until the Super Bowl was over. And I even still kind of feel like that. It's like this kind of, it's.
And then we start doing our taxes and more fun stuff like that.
Yeah. So I don't, and you can't say this year that, boy, the weather's been so damn bad, we can't get out. I mean, come on. I mean, our flowers are blooming. I mean, we should be, now we can't water our grass. So we're going to so maybe this is a good motivation for you to sell your house now before all your yard completely dies. You could go out there, and we're going to, what we should do? We need to get that that environmental friendly green paint, and you and I just need to run around with the sprayer, and we'll just spray everybody's yard. Oh, your grass is green.
I like that.
I mean, that's I remember times when they were doing that. I did. Where's the? I pulled this out because I haven't. Come on, here it is. I haven't heard anybody say this. Is this out of today? Yeah, this is out of this morning's Wall Street Journal. The winter of discontent, and they're doing a little comparison of really the left half of the country versus the right half of the country. The left half being almost an average of 10 to 20 degrees warmer than normal, and exactly the opposite on the east. And I always contend that the weather's the weather's it's a planet that moves and things are going to change. But they did identify this, and they tracked it back to the same time in 1977 when we had some of the coldest winters on Earth. Weather experts blame it all on a vast pool of warm water in the North Pacific, up to 7 degrees hotter than in most years, generating a plume of rising hot air, pushed the polar jet stream probably north, which steers air across the continent from west to east, further north, and then south in a series of kinks like accordion pleats. Who comes up with that? The same old continental pattern of air circulation contributed to the U.S. coldest U.S. winters on record in 77 and 79. So clearly, something's askew. I mean, we were looking for places to go snow skiing, and I'm like, well, let's look at up in Alaska, because we went there a few years ago, and it was 25 below, I think, when we got off the plane, and I'm looking up there, and the flowers are blooming outside of Juneau, which not good. I mean, it's just awfully warm. So it's interesting, and like all things, it will cycle back around, and we'll get some water again eventually. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll note that I am doing my part to bring water to the area.
I do appreciate that.
You're welcome. I pulled my roof off my house because, like everything else in the damn place, it wasn't done right either initially. I mean, before I bought it. And so I had to redo it. And, of course, I was going to wait until it stopped raining, and then I realized it may never start raining. So we pulled it off. And no sooner did we pull it off, and there was no call for rain that day, by the way. It rained that night a little bit. And people started looking at me like, this guy's got something. And then I got the call saying, do you really like that roof? This is after the roof is off, by the way. Are you really in favor of that roof tile and style you picked out? No, I picked it out because it's horrible. Yeah, I'm kind of in favor of that. Okay, no problem. We only have half a roof worth of material for you at this time. So we'll put on the front half, and the back half we'll have to wait until around February 10th. So then I knew that I had hit the golden goose, right? It's going to pour rain. And 2 days after that, I saw the news, rain is coming, and I'm sure it'll rain consistently now till the 10th. So if the storms come in from, let me think about how my house is oriented. If the storms come in from the south, I'm good.
You're okay.
Yeah, if the storms come in from the north, which is where they normally come from, it's going to be a little wet. Now I have the underlayment down, so it's probably not going to come through the ceiling, probably.
Hopefully.
But the front house of my house looks good, and that's really how my house has been since I bought it in July a year ago. There's always just like one. If you just close one eye,
it's almost done.
Everything looks great. If you look at it in focus, you're like, either that guy is a bit askew, which you would be right, or I haven't quite got it finished yet. And so that's just
who changes a roof in January?
Well, apparently we do.
All right.
But our roofer was like,
you probably got a good deal, right?
Yeah. He's like, I got nothing to do. And I looked around and I'm like, well, it hasn't rained in forever, and
right.
and of
course, 70+ degrees.
And I know the guy. He's done a bunch of work for me, and it wasn't his fault. It was the supplier of the actual material. But he looked at this roof. He's like, dude, I can tear this thing off in a day, and I can have it back on before the weekend. Literally Monday to Saturday. I'm looking at the weather, going, well, no problem. So they tore it off. It started raining, and then ran out of material.
In the meantime, you may as well get your car washed, right?
Oh, I had my car detailed. I did that the other day too, just to make sure that we really get socked. So we'll be good. We're set.
You're a thinker.
I am like Mother Nature, like her assistant. So we covered the weather. We're good there. I've got you covered. If you need me to move to your town and help you with your roof, I can bring water to wherever you need. Let's do. I got so many things to cover here today too. We got the text lines blowing up here at 441140. I've got some items we want to cover on. Interesting items that came out of the State of the Union address, and I've got little articles that kind of fill in little topics around that too. I've also got the real estate ads for the Gen Xers, people under 40 years old, who are not going to respond to your refined elegance and old world charm of my listing. They want new verbiage, and I'll read you some of that. So if you got your house on the market right now, quite frankly, your buyer probably is under 40 years old. We're doing a lot of first time buyers and repeat buyers too. So we're going to give you some of the new way to advertise to those that are under 40. So hang in for that. You might pass that on to your realtor if they need some help there. We've got a quiz question for you this morning too. And our number here, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We will take a couple off the phone, a couple off the text. Chris, if you're all right with that. What do you got there, Johnny?
Well, outside of the Super Bowl coming up after that, we have the Winter Olympics that are coming. And this might be easy for some of you folks out there.
Speaking of that for 1 second, I think we were talking about before, you were reading some of the prices for tickets to the Super Bowl before, like what they were initially and then like where they are now. And I actually didn't you say they were like as low as like $1,000?
Yeah. And
I know that's a ton of money, but that is the Super Bowl. I mean, and that's a big decline and partly because of the weather sitting. And I want to know how. So now you've got. I don't even know what you're going to ask about the Olympics, but now they're going to hold. Somebody assigned the Olympics to Sochi, Russia, and I think the average temperature in that town is like 59 degrees. Does anybody actually ever look and say, does it actually snow in the area where we're going to hold the Olympics? Now, I get it that maybe that's the town, and then, it's like if we were going to hold the Olympics here, it wouldn't all be held at Squaw Valley. I mean, some of it could be here in the valley, some of it could be in the hills, depending on what they're doing. But from what I have heard, I've never been there, that is not the most well-known cold area of that country. And there's I guess you couldn't hold it in Siberia, but nobody would go. Anyway, I digress. I'm just wondering how they got it.
I don't know that answer.
Okay.
But our quiz question, first one of the day, is our U.S. Olympic team. How many members are on our Olympic team total? U.S. Olympic team. How many folks are we sending to Sochi?
Are we sending?
I can tell you the top state is California with 20 people.
Okay, I thought maybe we were in the teens. So are we sending more than the Jamaican bobsled team?
A couple more.
A couple more.
So
So how many total U.S. members of the Winter Olympic team? Wow. That's probably more than you would think. 20 from California alone there. So 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We'll take the semi-closest answer, but I'm sure if Google works, you can get it either way. How many U.S. I was going to say ski team members, but it's all Winter Olympics skaters and everybody are going from the United States to Sochi for the Olympics. This is Talkin' Money. My name's Jeff Tarbell.
My name's John Fodorero.
And we're going to be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing?
Glad everybody woke up.
Whoa, everything just went blank on my screens there, Chris. I don't know what's going on. There we go. We did have a quiz question. We got 3 winners off the phone. Actually, nobody on the text was right on it, either really high or really low. So, how many U.S.
Olympic team this year?
Yep.
It's going to be 230-member team.
A lot of people.
Also, U.S. is returning 99 Olympians from the 2010 Winter Olympics. Quite a folks that are just continuing, and we have age youngest at 15 years old, oldest at 45 years old. So, Jeff, you cannot...
Oh, I'm just outside the window there.
You could go to Mexico, though. You'd look good in that new ski suit.
Oh, Chris, you got to Google the...
I've seen it.
That is incredible. If I can get my hand... I promise you, I would ski in that. I would ski in that thing. Now, it's probably Lycra tights. It's probably not going to be very flattering, but that is the coolest looking ski outfit. And yeah.
Have you seen his interview?
No.
The interview is the craziest thing about the guy.
Oh, is it?
Well, he's German or Austrian, and he's a prince, but he was born in Mexico. And the story of why he was born in Mexico, he's like, someone in our family decided that someone should be born in Mexico, and I was it.
Nice.
He doesn't live in Mexico.
Honestly, I thought that picture was. I thought it was just going to be like a model who was modeling it. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Oh, he doesn't appear to be of tremendous Mexican descent, but he was born in the country, and they only have one skier.
Yeah, and he's some sort of prince, but Germany hasn't had any royalty in like over 200 years, but he calls himself a prince. He's a pretty crazy guy.
Oh, that's a cool suit, though. I mean, that would be the greatest ski outfit.
The mariachi ski suit.
That would be the greatest ski suit ever, for sure. And I've got to figure out how to get my hands on it. I'm sure it's quite affordable.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, if the old prince had to have one of them made, but if you can check that out, it's pretty funny. I have not seen the interview, so we'll have to get into that. I was just showing John some stuff I was doing. I don't know if I've been doing a fair amount of a little bit of Facebook marketing, some things. We've got a new program that we've implemented, and it's getting people back. I call them boomerang buyers, or getting people back into the market who. It was as little as one day after short sale or foreclosure, 6 months after a bankruptcy. You've probably if you listen to the station, you've probably heard those ads or have seen them from us. It's something that's exclusive to us. But where I'm going with that is that I said, I'm finally going to try out that. I'm really going to give the Facebook marketing a try, just to see what it can or cannot do. And the first thing you need to know for any of you who want to do any Facebook marketing, which I did not know, is that you cannot market under your own personal profile. So John Ferrero, this is my profile, this is my family. You could say, hey, hi, I'm a mortgage lender, this is my phone number, but you really they don't, and I don't know what the logic is behind it, but they don't let you market through that. So just by sheer luck, or kind of stumbled into it. I had created this Talkin Money Facebook page. So you can create a business page for yourself. You could be John Fod Lender, as a fan page. You can get fans to that, and you have to market underneath that sort of banner, if you will. And most of you probably know that. I didn't know that you couldn't, how you had to do that. I was just doing it by dumb luck through the radio show page. And speaking of which, Facebook's numbers were off the chart this week, and they're just
all thanks to Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, all thanks to the $74 I spent on one ad. But so certainly everybody is a lot of people are starting to find a way to make that entity work for them. And if you look at this, I've been carrying this around for a little bit. This is a good time to bring it up. If you look at the demographics of who uses the different social media sites, they're fighting amongst themselves to say, hey, put your ad dollar over here, put your ad dollar over here. We're better. And Twitter and Instagram are saying, hey, we're the most diverse. If you want a diverse population, you come to Twitter or Instagram. This is their compelling spiel. And so here's some interesting numbers that, depending on who you're looking for. So if you look at the internet in general, just who uses the internet, 67% of the internet users are white, non-Hispanic people. 10% are black, non-Hispanic. 13% are Hispanic, and 10%, I like this one, other or don't know. So how do you respond? How do you respond to I don't know what I am? I guess you could be responding to other, because they don't have Asian or Indian. There's other things there too. But how do you have a don't know category? I just don't know. Now maybe if you were a German prince, but you were born in Mexico for a day and they moved you back somewhere else, that might be a good answer of I don't know. That might be the only guy who could say I don't know. Other than that, if you weren't royalty, born in a foreign country for an hour and moved out, you should probably have a good idea of what you classify yourself. But I digress. So there you go. 67% white, 10% black, 13% Hispanic, and 10% other. That's just the internet in general. Facebook is almost to a percentage exactly that breakdown. I mean, if you want to reach an exact swath of who uses the internet, then Facebook is exactly like it. By comparison, although Twitter says they're the most diverse, according to this chart, Instagram is the most diverse because less than half, 47% of the users are white as opposed to 67 in Instagram. The biggest discrepancy difference is in all the others. Black, Hispanic, and other are much bigger users of Instagram than they are of the internet in general. And Twitter is very, very close to that too. And I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why the non-white community is higher in percentage of population on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know. Maybe those two are more. Maybe those two I'm gonna say apps. Maybe those two sites are more mobile. You don't need a full-blown computer. Everybody has a handheld phone, so it's much easier and much quicker to share. Maybe there's a higher percentage of younger population that are non-white that are using. There's something in there, but it is a little bit of a cat fight now amongst the social sites. Well, Facebook, you just get all the white people and we get everybody. This is kind of their spiel. But where I'm going with this is that I took a very small budget. I think I started out with that campaign I just read you was like $75. That was a pay-per-click type thing. I would say over the last 3 weeks I probably spent no more than $300. Okay, in an advertising world where $300 doesn't get you one good ad on a radio station. I mean, generally, so $300 is nothing in the advertising world. And I was able to go in to this is the part that I like. I was able to go in. So I'm taking an ad that says, why wait to buy? Can come back in the market at one day after foreclosure. So I'm looking for home buyers, not necessarily the people who had a foreclosure short sale before, but just people who are in that box and able to go in there and say, okay, I want California only for this program. I want ages 25 to 60 because if they're earlier than 25, they're probably not ready to buy yet. And if they're older than 60, then they may be a different type of product. So I'm looking for people that are kind of circling back around. and then you can go by county, you can go by city. But I also went in and said, okay, I want people who associate themselves with the TV show House Hunters, the TV, who are associated with a fan page of Home Depot. So you can go in there and you can start just, and it'll start recalculating. This is your world of, if you spend $100, you'll get, this many people. If you spend $300, you get this many people. So it allows you, and for a small business person or an independent contractor or someone who wants to just target focus their money, allows you a very, very tight-knit group of people who will see that ad. The people that you want to see that ad, right? So the first week was flippin' astonishing to me. The first $100 I spent, 48,000 people, think about that, 48,000 people saw that ad. And by what I mean is, so if you're a Facebook user, on your news feed page where John's looking at, John posted, hey, I'm skiing, and hey, Jeff, checked out this, and here's my, so you're scrolling through and all your friends and people rolling up. Within that context of all the things you're looking through, my ad popped up if you were in that category. So that means that someone viewed it. So somewhere along 48,000 people for $100 that week saw my name, my thing, and then it goes down from there. And I was just showing John during the break. I got the first report. So of those that clicked through, there was 73 that clicked all the way through to my website. 100 or 1,100 that clicked on the ad itself, and that you pay by on. So I think I ended up paying like $72 or something, and I ended up with I want to say 30 or 40 new likes on the Talkin Money site. So it's as more people become familiar with that program, that product, as they want to grow their business, I think it's a phenomenal bang for the buck. And you can see now that Facebook is linked into it. And what do you got? Yeah,
I mean, Facebook numbers show fourth quarter sales up $2.6 billion, which is up 63% from the same time last year. 63%.
So they've figured out how to make it. And I think the challenge last year for them was that the mobile side of it wasn't very good. If I remember back, it's like, okay, where's my phone? So if I'm looking on here and I'm scrolling through my phone, my Facebook, which is, if I'm ever, generally 90% of the time I'm doing something that's on my phone. I don't generally sit down on my computer and go through Facebook unless I'm doing something, uploading an ad or something. So they get that worked out. But certainly, I think you got to think that if you look at the full Facebook side, you start seeing all the, Oakley is a good example. They're always on there, Oakley glasses and all these different things too, all the links on the side to that. So that's got to all be in the mix.
So Facebook says that 945 million of its 1.2 billion users visit the site via smartphone or tablet.
Yeah. So that is your biggest percentage. So until, now I don't know, Chris, are you a big Twitter user?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not, I wouldn't, so this is the problem is that the good part for me is that if I post one thing on Facebook and on the business side, it goes to a news update on my homepage of my website, but it also goes as a Twitter feed. So I don't really have to go to all these other places, which is kind of a nice way of being more efficient. But Chris, I'm not familiar with, and I've been on the Twitter page, I'm not familiar with any way that I can advertise on Twitter where they will charge me some money. Are you?
There are sponsored tweets. So you'll get tweets every once in a while of something that you're not following, like a McDonald's or something like that, and it'll say below it sponsored tweet.
Okay.
Or you'll get something from Visa, or say like a restaurant around here, and it'll say one of the people that you follows them, and it's a sponsored tweet.
Okay. So there is some way, but it's like how come it's not more in my face to say, hey Jeff, do you want to? You want us to push your tweet out to 50,000 people. I mean, I don't. It's so easy on the Facebook thing. It's right below it. So you do something. John Ferrero, Jeff Tarbell live at 9:00, and it says right below it. Do you want to boost this post? Yeah, for $20, I'll boost the post to 100 people. It's got to be like that. It's got to be that easy to spend your money. And until they do, I don't see how. And I don't know how Instagram makes a dime. I don't know that they do make any money. But
I'm not sure either. But reading through here, Facebook, they're just doing a great job on their advertising and marketing, obviously. I mean, their cash here in the fourth quarter said it's $11.5 billion in cash on hand at the end of the quarter, which is up $9.3 billion from the quarter before. So there's obviously their ads are working
up
quite well. Up. That's up from 9.3 billion.
Extra $2 billion in there. Yeah, some of that's probably some of that cash is from stock sales, and some of it's from Okay, so anyway, it's interesting. If you know how an Instagram or particularly Instagram makes any money, or you've ever spent any money advertising, I'd love to hear from you because I don't know how that is. And speaking of money, we got to take a break here in just a second. Here's a big shocker. I'm sure this shocked everybody that some of the Bitcoins are being used for illegal activities, and actually someone was arrested for funneling $1 million of the digital currency into the online black market site Silk Road, which was the online drug site allegedly. And I don't think it's a big shock to me that the Bitcoin is as important as an underground currency as it is maybe bigger than an above ground currency. So anyway, the Bitcoin getting a lot of publicity for darn sure.
Absolutely.
Some people still believe you must have an investment in the Bitcoin. I am not one of them, but I have. I didn't buy the Facebook stock either, and so what do I know? Nothing. Well, I know we got another quiz question for you, and we got some ski passes this year at Tahoe. We're going to take a quick break here, and John's going to get out his quiz question. Again, the numbers, if you want to jump in, 339-1140, toll-free 800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140 if you'd like to do that as well. And what do you got?
Okay, so this has to do with sports again.
Yeah.
And so youth age 6 through 18 participating in organized sports.
Mm-hmm.
Which sport, you can name either or, but has the biggest increase in players?
Percentage-wise, right?
Percentage-wise.
Okay.
Which sport has the biggest, or which sport has the lowest, is dropping?
Dropping the fastest?
Dropping the fastest in terms of participation by our youth.
Yeah, I've got the highest one is going to be a hard one, I think. The low, I had an idea on the who was dropping out the fastest too, and that's interesting too. So a lot of things to think about there. So which sport is picking up the most players percentage-wise, and which sport is losing the most percentage-wise? 339-1140. Either or. There's no right or wrong answer. Oh yeah, there is. There's two right answers and a whole bunch of wrong ones. But 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. Remember, if you text us and you want a prize, either give us your phone number in the text or your full name and address, because otherwise all we see is the first 6 digits, and the first 3 are 916. So that doesn't help us a lot. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to take a quick break.
We'll be right back, Jack.
Talking money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Right. The last tour ever for these guys. Well, Motley Crue actually signed a contract saying that they will break up officially after their next tour.
Is that right?
Yeah, that way none of them can carry on with the name without the others. So, a little interesting tack. You can always tear up a contract.
I was going to say.
Our question was before the break, let's see, number of people getting out, no, not people, but youth getting out of
organized sports.
Okay, so I would have guessed the most people getting out would have been football, just because of all the concussion type stuff.
Which I guessed also, and we are wrong.
But are people getting out of football?
Small percentage.
Okay.
The top was basketball.
Really?
Yep. Mine, it's down 8.3% basketball, and then baseball, and then soccer, and then football.
Wow. Those people getting out. Okay,
so
getting in then, so there's all your big ones. So getting in had to be a smaller sport, so it's growing 158%. Some people were guessing golf or tennis, but what's
right, lacrosse.
Oh,
lacrosse up 158%.
No question about it. I mean, you look around at least our area, and everybody's getting in. I wish they'd had lacrosse when I was in school, because it's just.
You should see the girls they have in this picture. I mean, they are out for.
Take your head off. Huh?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and they don't get to wear helmets. All the boys are little pansies. They have to wear a helmet on their head. These girls go out with a mouthpiece in and the thing over their eye, and they'll smack you in the head. Yeah, the girls are tougher than boys. That's just how it is.
Next in line is ice hockey's up 64%.
Interesting. Not on the West Coast this year.
No.
Let's get to Steve. Has been patiently holding. Steve, welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
Good, yeah. I just had some remarks about the demographics for Twitter, Facebook, and the like.
Yes, sir.
I guess the question is that, how does the demographic mirror the population, and what demographic are you talking about? Because in California, for instance, I could see where there would be an issue because if half the state's Hispanic and half is not, but if they're talking about U.S. wide, I still think about 67% of the whole population may be white Anglo, with 10 to 15% being African American. So it may not be as far off as people are trying to make it be, and they may just be manipulating those statistics by trying to buttress their argument.
Yeah, and I don't have the United States breakdown of population, but what they're looking at, the population of the internet in general, which I gave was the 67% white and 10, 13, 10. It mirrors Facebook exactly. So, and again, Twitter and Instagram, they don't care what the whole world population is. They only care what the whole world population on the internet is. So it does, if half the world doesn't have a computer, then Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, and internet and Instagram could care less, unless they want to get them a computer. But as far as a breakdown of who uses the internet in general, then and there's small differences, but if you look at Black non-Hispanic group, where 10% on the internet use the internet in general, but 18% use Twitter, 20% use Instagram. So there's a big difference there. And the only point is that Twitter and Instagram think it's important, and that they're trying to you have to differentiate yourself from Facebook somehow, right? Because you're getting your butt kicked by them. So you got to be able to say, well, they're only catering to to white males or white females. So if you want the rest of the world, you got to come to Twitter or Instagram. So it's all marketing, and I agree with you. It's probably not a huge difference, but they think it is. So it's interesting marketing, the dynamic there, Steve. But I appreciate your phone call. I'll put you back on hold, and Chris, you can give Steve. Okay, you can if you got his information. Thanks, Steve, for participating very much. Appreciate it, Steve from Fairfield down there. We did have a speech State of the Union address this week from the president, and brought up a few items I thought were interesting. John pulled up the speech in front of him so that we could reference some of the stuff. But there was a lot of talk about unemployment and getting back into employment and discrimination against those that have been on unemployment. It seems like there was a big section about that in the speech, right? And I thought was interesting is that politicians are such scumbags. I mean, there's just no way around it. There's just no honesty. So on the State of the Union speech, they bring up this woman who was recently, or they showed her in the audience. She's recently unemployed. Something happened. She was unemployed, and the implication is that because the unemployment benefits weren't extended, that this lady who was recently unemployed was going to be left out in the cold. And then you move on to something else. And so if you're watching it, you're like, oh, those bad people, I can't believe they didn't extend unemployment benefits any further than they already did. This poor lady's going to be out in the street. And that was the impression you're left with. But if you understand what's really going on, and then they go on to say, well, after they come back into the workforce, you shouldn't discriminate against them when it comes to hiring. And that part I agree with. But you, and by you I mean the people who make the decisions to do unemployment benefits, you have granted somebody, and we've talked about this before, you've granted somebody the ability to stay out of a workforce for almost 2 years. You've made no obligation or requirement that they even try to get work, and I'm not saying that they aren't trying to work, but you don't make them prove it. There's not any ongoing continuing education requirements. And now a person who's been out of the workforce for 2 years comes back into the workforce, and they're having a hard time getting a job. And that is the fault of employers? Well, let me tell you about our industry. If you're out of our industry for 2 months, you're damn near unemployable because there's so much change and so much going on. I don't even like to take a long weekend. I mean, there's that much going on. So so someone who, I mean, and I hear from people all the time now who used to work for me or in the, hey, I've been thinking about kind of getting back into it. I'm like, wow, I don't even know where to start. I mean, you can't even just come back in the industry anymore. Well, I still got my real estate license. Well, great. I got a car too. I mean, there's so many hoops and hurdles that I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying that if you come to me and John walks in and says, hey, I'd like a job at $50,000 a year, and quite frankly, I don't know how to speak your language in terms of what you guys do, and whether he's been on unemployment for 2 years or he's been cutting grass or he's been a top brain surgeon, it doesn't matter. John doesn't know what the hell is going on in our industry, and I'm not going to hire him and pay him a big salary and train him. Now, what happens in our industry is we tell people like John and myself, you can come in our industry if you want, but you got to learn on your own. I mean, it's not like we won't help you, but we're not going to pay you to get yourself up to speed. So, in the example they used of this poor lady who lost her job, and it just I always ask myself, when someone asks you to do that, do you realize that they are making you like a scapegoat? It's just, I mean, they're using you as a political pawn. That lady who was recently unemployed, she didn't lose her benefits. She can start normal benefits like everybody else. Now, had she been on it for a year and a half, she's probably not going to be able to extend. But that wasn't what they brought up. Said she just lost her job, and now unemployment's been cut off. And unemployment has not been cut off. Unemployment has been cut off for those who've been on it for too long. The program didn't end. That's not what we're talking about. So the thing was a total scam. Just to say that she's sitting there and using her as an example.
Yeah, and their comments of Congress needs to restore the unemployment insurance you just let expire for 1.6 million people. Well, they've been on it for a long
Unemployment didn't expire. Unemployment ended for those who have had it for such a long period of time that they need to do something else. It's an utter and complete disservice and untruth to them to say, we're going to leave you on here and expect that you can continue to do that, and then to go out to employers and say, well, you're discriminating against these people because they've been off of work. No, employers are looking at it and saying, I only have X amount of dollars to hire an individual. 50 came in the door. 25 of them are already in my industry and are looking to take a step up. 15 of them are just coming out of college, so they don't have a job, and they're looking to do something. And 5 of them were unemployed for the last a day, a year, or 2 years and don't know anything about our industry or are trying to get back into it. I got to pick one. And because I didn't pick the guy or the woman that was unemployed, I'm discriminating against. I discriminated against all 49 of them. I found the best one. It just shows you how little reality these people deal with on a daily basis. And it's a joke. And you look at, I'll get into some other examples here. You look at, there's a great opinion piece that came out in the Wall Street Journal, and it started talking about we're going to hike minimum wage. They want to hike minimum wage another 40%. And you start looking at how companies react to this. 23% of the establishments over the last 10 years have gone to automated something. Safeway, you can walk through and check out your own groceries. You can now sit at a restaurant on an iPad and order your own food. You can do these things electronically. You're going to force me to pay somebody $30,000 a year to take my order. The company will find another way. It's ridiculous. And I'll get into some other things as we continue next week. I didn't get into my good real estate ads too.
I wanted to hear those too.
Yeah, we'll have to do that next week. Next week. I will. You'll be here next week.
Yes, sir.
I will be around next week. Maybe not here though.
Looking for a ski suit.
I'm going to be getting the mariachi ski suit. There is no question. If I can find, I promise you, if I can find that, and it's not $1 gazillion, I will be skiing in that. And I am not even 1/8 Mexican like he is. I am nothing, other than at some point you get enough tequila in your system, you qualify for something. I think it's alcoholism, but I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, we can find this show, and you can find us during the week at the Talkin Money Facebook page. Or johnfode.com is John's site. You can check him out if you are one of those boomerang buyers looking to get back in the market. Something happened, bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, something, or you just want to get in the market for the first time. Check out John. He'll do it. JohnFOD.com and JeffTarbell.com during the week. That music means we got to wrap it up, so I'll save all my little notes here for next time. And we appreciate you tuning in very much. Get out and get some skiing done. We'll talk to you next week, everybody.